You'll see some elements in this kitchen that are often described in current literature as elements of an unfitted kitchen. We try to think a little bit beyond just putting together stock boxes in a row in your kitchen. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way. You can combine a lot of different elements and it can make it really work in a kitchen. This is sort of the start of the bake center here, where Casey's working right now. This piece was designed with the baker in mind. Carolyn, my wife. Say hi, Carolyn. She's the baker of the family, and she was really the consultant on this piece. So we started with this really simple things, okay? This counter is not the same height as this counter. See that? Okay. So I was watching Carolyn roll some dough out one time. He's like, "You just look uncomfortable up here." She goes, "Yes, it's too high for me." So I said, "Well, let's figure out what the perfect height is," and that's how we started designing this piece, around what the perfect height is for her to be able to knead out some dough. Casey's not really tall either, so it works well for her as well. So that's where we started, and then we designed everything around it. Well, what else do we want? We wanted integrated sugar and flour bins. I guess they don't want to clean this up, so they're not going to tell me anything. We have a sugar bin here, we have a flour bin here. After we're done rolling all this stuff out, we're going to have a mess on top of the counter. Wipe it up, sweep it right down into this hole in the counter right here. It goes down into this pan. You just take it out, empty it, clean it, put it back in the bake center. Wow. Got a little seating area right here if you had a guest or you're a little tired and want to sit down while you're working. We have our propane tank in here for the stove, so we can't put two stools, but normally we have room for two stools tucked underneath the counter here. And that brings us right around to the cooktop area. We've got a 36-inch cooktop here. We don't need a range, we don't need an oven because we've got the wall oven. And we have a cool little feature here. That's a downdraft ventilation unit, okay? If you got an island, either you got to have a big hood hanging over your island, which gets in the way of your line of sight, or you have to use the downdraft. This is the new generation of downdraft units. If you're retrofitting an island, you just got to make sure that if you want to use a downdraft, that you have room underneath the island to get the ventilation out. You got to have an open basement or something where you can get the vent out the door. Right. You want to do a little cooking? Learn something about cooking? Maybe you guys can teach me something about cooking. I don't know. I love to cook. So what's on the menu today? We're going to be doing a stuffed flank steak, which is also sometimes called brujol, depending on how you interpret it. What I really try to encourage people to do when they think about food is just to be creative, not to be scared, to think about the things that you like that taste good together and put them together. You know, what do you have to lose? I got a nice, about a 12-inch heavy-duty copper pan here. What you really want with your saute pan is you just want a heavy bottom. You want to be able to transfer the heat evenly in the pan. I've got 2 different olive oils here, which I always keep on my cooking table. Extra virgin, first pressing, and this is called pomace, which is the last pressing. I've got a good sized red onion here, coarsely chopped. When we talk about salt and pepper, if you don't have a pepper mill, just any old kind of pepper mill, get one, you really should. It makes all the difference in the world. We're looking for these onions to start to go translucent, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add about half, maybe 3/4 of a cup of chopped Kalamata olives, and about 6 good cloves of garlic minced up here. But the trickiest part of this, the most involved part, and maybe the most intimidating part for some folks, is to butterfly the meat. To get this really the way I want it to be for this dish, I have to actually take this fairly thin piece of meat, and I have to cut it again the long way so I can open it up like the butterfly way. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so the other trick here is like a piece of wood. Maybe that's why I like flank steak so much. It has a grain to it, okay? And in the ultimate end of this dish, I want to slice the flank steak across the grain. So I want to open this piece of meat up this way, so when I roll it and I slice it, I'm cutting across the grain. So now I've got this really nice, thin, basic kind of wrapping paper to create this little dish here. I'm going to season the inside of this when I'm going to roll with some more fresh ground pepper. Okay, I'm going to dump this nice saute mix in here. I'll give you a look at this. That's just the onions, the garlic, and the olive. You see how good that smells with some good olive oil in it? You put some jalapenos in there, you like that? I like jalapenos. Hey, do it, man. Nothing to stop. You know what would be good in this? If you wanted to do that, would be those cherry peppers, you know, those red. You ever have Utica greens with those hot cherry peppers in it? That would be dynamite. It's not really, really good. Okay, to that I'm going to add 8 ounces of ricotta. I'm going to crack a couple eggs. I got about 1/4 of a cup of Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Okay? But the goal here is that all these recipes will be on my website, www.cabfab.com. So I'm actually kind of doing a double filling quantity here. The last ingredient in the filling, maybe 4 cups of chopped spinach right here. And you can use fresh spinach for this, but honestly it's a waste of energy. Frozen spinach is perfectly fine for this. There's so many flavors in this dish. If you're doing a nice side dish with just some nice baby spinach, then use good fresh spinach. But for a dish like this, frozen spinach is perfectly fine. So I'm going to take this filling. I just want a nice, pretty thin, even coat of the filling on the flank steak. You're going to find that if you load it up too heavy, you're going to lose about 1/3 of it anyway because you're going to come squirting out the end. A little bit's going to come out anyway. You can't help that. Okay, I pre-cut some cotton string here. Okay, about 6 lengths of it. It's really easy. You just take the string, put a little tension on it, go to the end of the roast, and slide it in. Remember, I told you that we're going to finish this dish in liquid as a braising piece, so we want to make sure that it'll stay together nicely for us. One of the reasons I put the eggs in the filling is when the dish starts to heat, the eggs will firm up the filling. It'll kind of keep it from wanting to run out in any way. Okay, you see that? That's up the all ready to go. Now I'll talk you through what's going to happen from this point forward. We're doing this in stages. You want to stay at the home show all day, which Chris would love for you to do. You can come back and see the next generation of this, but basically what we're going to do from here, we'll make another one of these at the next demonstration, and then we'll take the 2 of them and we'll put them in a pan like this, good and hot, and we'll put a good sear, we'll brown them all the way around, get a good crust on them all the way around. Then we'll make a simple little tomato-based sauce, a lot of wine, a lot of garlic. We'll have enough sauce to cover this about halfway. We'll put them both in a braising pan, nice and tight, not a lot of room. We'll put them in a low oven at about 250 degrees. We'll leave them there for about an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. Real low heat. They'll cook really slow and easy. It's called a braising technique. You braise them. And then we'll take them out of the liquid. We'll set them aside. Beef always likes to rest a little bit after it's cooked. We'll cook that sauce down. We'll add a couple other, we'll add some shiitake mushrooms and a few other things to the sauce. Then we'll slice the roll, have that beautiful pinwheel pattern. Now we'll finish it with the sauce. We're also going to do some grilled beets. If you've never grilled beets, that's a great dish. That'll be a side dish for that. Okay, that's our presentation, you guys. What do you think? All right.